Yeah, y'all, this is Talk Radio, where your Monday motivation meets real talk, real stories, and real growth. Because we get it, life doesn't always go according to plan. But here, we believe that some of the greatest comebacks start with a breakdown, that behind every strong voice is a moment of silence, and that sometimes the best success stories start with a fail. So, wherever you're listening from, your car, your couch, or somewhere in between, take a breath, turn it up, and get ready to reset. This is your moment.
The following is rated TVMA and is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are tuning in from. Welcome back to Motivational Monday here on Talk Radio. I'm your host, and today is May 12th, 2025. Let's do a quick check in on the year so far. We are officially 36.16% of the way through 2025. That's 18 weeks and 6 days, or if you're more of a countdown kind of person, 132 days, 3,168 hours, 190,080 minutes, and 11,404,800 seconds already in the books. Now, take a moment. Breathe that in. Because here comes the question that matters most today. What have you done with that time? Did you move toward your goals? Did you take steps toward becoming the version of yourself you promised you'd be back in January? Or did life get in the way again? If your answer feels a little disappointing, let me stop you right there and say this. You are not alone. Seriously. So many of us set goals with the best of intentions, only to get swept up in the chaos, distractions, and curveballs of life. And that's why today's theme is for you. Today, we're not looking back with regret. We're hitting reset mentally, emotionally, spiritually, because here's the truth. You still have 63.84% of the year left. That's 233 days filled with opportunity, growth, healing, and progress. So let's take this moment to realign. Let's talk about how to turn disappointment into drive, how to refocus, and how to reclaim your momentum, starting right now. Grab a journal, pour a cup of coffee or tea, and settle in. This is your time. This is your reset. And this is Motivational Monday. Because, I've already slipped and done not recording this show tonight. I didn't pre-record it. So I'm live. So it just goes to show you that life can get in the way and you just have to go with the punches and figure out how you're going to keep going even though you messed up. So, I'm just doing this now live instead of pre-recorded. But the rest of the week will be pre-recorded, I'm hoping. I'm going to work on it tomorrow. I got to get focused and into a schedule of set time aside for my talk radio recordings and then time aside for the caregiving side of my day, helping my mama, and then time away for taking care of my brother, helping him, or being bugged by him, whatever one is most relevant that day or prevalent that day. And then, time alone with the wife and stuff, and, just scheduling my day to where I can get all these different things accomplished and not be so crazy chaotic and stressed out. So that starts tonight with this episode of Monday Night Motivational Monday live on YouTube. So we'll get into this. So let's kick things off with a few familiar names who once wore the label failure like a scarlet letter before they flipped the script. These names have come up on my talk show before, so if you recognize the names, it's probably because you heard them here before. Oprah Winfrey was told she was unfit for TV after being fired from her first reporting job. Think about that. One of the most iconic television personalities of all time was once told she didn't belong on screen. That moment of rejection could have been the end of her story, but it wasn't. It was just the beginning. James Dyson spent 15 years and created 5,126 failed prototypes. 5,126. Before finally inventing the world's first bagless vacuum cleaner. Most people would have stopped at protocol number 10, maybe 100. But Dyson saw failure not as defeat, but as data. Every flop brought him closer to function. J.K. Rowling, a broke single mother battling depression, typed her story in cafes while her baby slept beside her. 12 publishers passed on Harry Potter. Now her books have sold over 500 million copies. She wasn't just chasing a dream, she was surviving. And still, she dared to believe her story mattered. So here's the real question. What if failure isn't the opposite of success, but the price of admission? We've been conditioned to avoid failure like the plague, but the truth is, success rarely comes without scars. Failure teaches, refines, and redirects. It's the crash course that no classroom can offer. Failing fast isn't about rushing toward defeat. It's about taking the shot, learning from the miss, adjusting your aim, and shooting again. Smarter, stronger, and more resilient than before. Because when you fail fast, you learn fast. And when you learn fast, you succeed faster. Let me ask you, what have you not tried because you're afraid to fail? And what if that very failure is your shortcut to greatness? See, I've done a lot of things. I've tested out a lot of things that I could have had been failures, and some were failures. And I still battle with trying not to fail at certain things, like talk radio, like Dandy's World live streams, like my website and my business and all these things I'm trying to accomplish. But each little failure is leading me to more success later on. I'm learning from my mistakes, using them to better my self, better this show, better my website, better things, you know. So I take those failures and just kind of be like, I'm going to try to keep going and learn from these mistakes. And hopefully people continue to tune in and watch this show and maybe even gain new followers and new listeners and new subscribers on YouTube. Um, so yeah, but let's break it down. Psychologist Carol Dweck introduced us to two powerful mindsets. A fixed mindset says, I failed, that means I'm not good enough. A growth mindset says, I failed, that means I'm learning something. Sounds simple, right? But living that out, it takes work. And let me be real with you. I've lived both sides of that coin. There was a time when I poured my heart into a project. I believed in months of planning, creating, marketing, sleepless nights, full of hope. I launched it thinking this is the one, and it tanked. Crickets, no traction, zero engagement. I remember staring at my screen, heart in my throat, thinking maybe I'm just not cut out for this. And part of that was the D&J show. It started out really, really slow, and it's still pretty slow. People don't really watch it much and stuff like that. But I'm setting out to do D&J show season 3 in tribute to my friend Daniel Meeker, who passed away. So I'm continuing on D&J show to try to make it succeed with the tribute to Daniel Meeker being a part of that. But like I say, maybe I'm not cut out for this. That was a fixed mindset creeping in, trying to convince me that one failure was a verdict, a final word. But something shifted. Instead of packing it up and walking away, I sat with the discomfort. I dug into the why. What went wrong, what I missed, what I could do differently, and what came out of that wreckage was something hopefully better with this D&J show. I launched another project that hit deeper, felt more for me, and actually connected with people. That failure taught me more than any success ever could, because I'm doing talk radio now. I do get watchers, Not much commenting or, stuff like that, but I'm working on it. But here's the truth. Failure is not a stop sign. It's a recalibration point. If something doesn't work out, that doesn't mean you're not meant for it. It might just mean that your approach needs refining, your message needs tuning, or maybe you just weren't ready yet. And that's okay. We are all works in progress. So if you're out there feeling like you're stuck, defeated, or doubting your worth because something didn't go the way you planned, I want you to hear me. You haven't failed. You're learning. You're evolving. You are leveling up. I get tongue-tied sometimes. Failure isn't your enemy. It's your most honest mentor. That's kind of deep. Failure isn't your enemy. It's your most honest mentor. Like, failure is just a mentor teaching you things that went bad that you can change up and hopefully do better. It's just kind of a teaching thing. So next here's 3 tips to reframe failure. If you're going through a tough moment right now, if something didn't go as planned, if you feel like you let yourself or someone else down, let me remind you, you are not alone. And more importantly, you are not done. Okay, here are 3 powerful tips to help you reframe failure and transform the way you see it. Number 1, detach your identity from the outcome. Too often we let our failures define us. But hear this, you are not your mistakes. A failed business doesn't mean you're a failure. A broken relationship doesn't mean you're unlovable. One moment, one misstep doesn't write your whole story. Think of it this way. When a scientist runs an experiment and it doesn't go as planned, they don't say, I failed. They say, interesting result. Let's figure out why. Apply that same grace to yourself. Number 2, ask yourself, what did this teach me? This is where you take back your power. Instead of spiraling into guilt or shame, pause and reflect. Ask, what did I learn about myself? What will I do different next time? What was outside of my control? Even painful moments can hold powerful lessons. So grab a journal or just your phone's notes app and write down 3 things you learned, even if they're hard truths. That reflection is your roadmap forward. Number 3, celebrate the risk. You showed up. You tried. You dared to do something uncomfortable. And that alone makes you braver than most. Think about how many people never even start. You did. That's courage. So give yourself credit, not for the result, but for the effort. This is speaking to myself too. How many people even started a talk radio? I did. So I got to start learning to give myself some credit for trying. Because every time you try and fail, you're still moving forward. Write this down and repeat it to yourself when it gets heavy. I didn't fail. I found a way that didn't work. So I'm one step closer to what does. Failure isn't the end. It's just feedback. Reframe, reclaim it, and keep going. Because the version of you that doesn't give up, that's the one who's going to win. Now, this section here, community feature, call to action, I want to flip the spotlight around to you guys. We've all had moments where we felt like we failed, where things didn't go as planned, or life just knocked us off our feet. But sometimes, just sometimes, those setbacks lead us somewhere unexpected, somewhere better. A relationship, a new purpose, a dream job, or even a version of ourselves we didn't know was possible. So I want to hear from you. Has there ever been a time when failure cracked something open and let the light in? Maybe it changed your path. Maybe it changed you. Email your fail to win story to talkradiomotivation@gmail.com. Big or small, if it matters to you, it matters to me. I'll be featuring select stories on next week's show, so don't be shy. Let's build this together because when one of us rises from a fail, we all get inspired to rise too. And your story just might be the spark someone else needs to keep going. And I will feature that on next week's Motivational Monday. I will kind of start having this segment be a weekly thing, a fail to win section, call to action, get the stories from you guys and share them to maybe motivate other people to just keep going and not give up. Keep pushing forward. Don't take a fail and be like, I'm done. Nope. Keep trying. That's why I keep doing this talk radio. As many times as I thought, okay, these episodes are just horrible. But I keep going because sooner or later it's going to hit and people are going to start noticing. And I'm going to be like Mr. Jimmy Kimmel of YouTube. Okay? Yeah, I've left Jimmy Kimmel alone for a while. But I'll be the next Jimmy Kimmel sooner or later. Just wait and see. Now, today's takeaway is simple but powerful. You're going to mess up. You're going to fall short. You're going to feel like you've taken 3 steps back after 1 step forward. But here's the truth. If you are learning, you are winning. Mistakes aren't signs that you're failing. They're proof that you're trying. They're markers on the path to becoming who you're meant to be. So go ahead. Fail fast. Take the risk. Ask the question. Show up even when it's uncomfortable. Because every misstep is 1 step closer to your breakthrough. Every time you stumble, you're still moving. And that motion, that momentum, is everything. So wherever you are today, whether you're standing tall or crawling through it, know this. You are not behind. You are becoming. You are in process. You are in progress. And that's a beautiful place to be. Until next time, stay motivated, stay grounded, and as always, take care of yourself and each other. Because, you got to be able to work with people to make things happen, because the better you become at life, the better everybody else becomes at life. And the better things will be for everybody, okay? Everybody. Because it's kind of cool to be knowing that you're something special, even though you might not think you are. Because, things happen and it's worth it. It's worth it. So, thank you for watching. This has been Motivational Monday, and I will see you next week. All right? All right.